and welcome to Buckman's Model Mania. Today we're going to be working on the Moomin House from D'Agostini, stage 79. Go ahead and get the book open. We're actually starting on the finishing touches of the house. We've got a couple of the external walls done. This stage is for the veranda door. So let me get the parts out of here. And it says blah blah blah. Wood glue, quick drawing glue, sandpaper, craft knife, modeling mat, paper napkins, paint palette on the disposable paintbrush, acrylic paints, brown, black, white, brown. Interesting. I didn't see black and white when I was looking through the instructions earlier. So we've got the door center, a couple of door frames. Each of them has some laser cut lines on them. Exterior door surround. Again, some laser cut lines on here. Actually, that looks like you actually will be, or I'll actually be cutting that off. Exterior and interior. Vertical sides. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I have a dog under my feet snorkeling. He just ate something and so he's making noise. Let's see. What was that? That was the cornice. We have door arch A is what it's called. Door surround top. Couple of door strips. Window frames for around the door. One of them just fell out. Or for around the window. We've got stained glass here. Actually have two panes, actually 3 panes of glass. Unless those are I think those are the plastic panels. Just a ton of pieces for a single door, which is kind of cool. What are these? These are the door handles. Those apparently will be glued on from the outside, or from on the inside, one on the outside. Go ahead and get a tray here for those. We'll set those up there. So, almost did not see. We have a short pin and a long pin. Long pin's a lot longer than it looks like here, but we'll see how that works out. So it says, make sure that the external door frame and the internal door frame are arranged as so. Note the positions of the rounded edges. These look completely identical. I do not see any difference between these, so I think they're basically the same. Oh no, they're not. Hang on. Okay. Very, very small difference. You can see, come on, there's a slight bevel there. There's a slight bevel on one edge of both the frames. The picture shows that it says rounded, but they're actually just beveled edges are to the inside. So we're going to take this piece here And that's why. Okay, that now makes sense. We're going to put this one on here like this. Then we're going to turn it over. Do that. And just double check. And I managed to actually put it together right. You can see there's the pin. And the pin up on top. Rounded edges are to this side. So that is how they go. Using wood glue. Hold a circle in red. Okay. Okay. So let's put a little bit of wood glue on here. Shake this stuff out into the trash can. Put a little bit of glue. And I'm doing it this way because I don't want to get too much glue on either side of the door. I don't want it flowing out. Make sure got the beveled on that side. Excuse me. So we are going to take the brush, and I could probably actually do this using double-sided tape. But this should work just as well. Maybe I should thin this glue. I don't know. I think it'll be fine. If I thin it, it'll take longer to dry. By the way, it's been a while, but want to apologize. Probably 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, release time. A couple of days ago for me when it was released, and somebody pointed out that one of my videos, I said, I'll be right back, and never was. I apologize for that. Okay, so we got glue on here. We're going to take the door, make sure we have the hole on the right side. We're going to put this in here. That's something else. If I thinned the glue down with water, it would tend to warp this door panel. So I'm going to set that like that. I'm going to put one more clip here, like that. While that's setting up a little bit, I'll go ahead and get glue on this side. But yeah, it was one. I don't even know what happened. Don't know why I did that. But I looked at the video and I don't think I left much out. It was on the alien. It was kind of funny when I did that. When somebody pointed it out, I went back and I looked at it and went, oh, okay. And that is proof positive that I don't edit. I just do the video. Everything you see is done live. And then don't even watch it back when I put the intro and outro on it. It just gets put together the way it came out. And then I press on. So let me get these clips off of here. That is definitely proof that what you see is what I did. If I ever do start editing, I will let you know. And speaking of which, of builds coming up and things like that, just double checking. That side is sticking up a little bit. I have been approved by Agora to do a build of a sponsored build of the USS Constitution. I'm looking very forward to that when it comes out in April. Be a little bit different format because I'm thinking I will do, instead of a stage at a time, I'll shoot for a pack at a time. What I'm doing here is there's a little bubble of glue similar to one right here, and I'm just kind of getting rid of it. Okay, so let me set that down. And okay, that's where the black and the brown paint. I'm going to go ahead and pause for a minute just to take a look at what they want me to do with these little rings. Also, I'm going to sand them down a little bit, and I'll be right back. Okay, took a look what they're asking for me to do, and it's painting the door. They're asking you to paint the door and the surround, which I forgot. I need to sand the edges down on that, maybe just a hair. But I looked at it and, well, broke it. That is using just regular stain, and that's using a gel stain that I have right here. I think I'm going to go with the gel stain, but before I do that, I need to get rid of the burr on these two pieces. I forgot completely to do that. And this is going to be a process that is very gentle, because you can see I snapped that in half. I don't want to snap either of these in half. I'm just going to, very similar to metal photo etch, you don't go on the part here, you don't go crossways, you go that way. You run it along the edge of the piece, not across. So let me, where is it? I heard that somebody just said over there, but it's not. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Keep a sheet of wax paper handy to do things like this. I'm actually going to paint these, each of these separately, and then glue them together. But for right now, you guys have seen me do this before. It's basically dip the brush in, get a little bit on here. Oops, just like that. So I'm going to pause while I do this, and I'll come back once it's done. And actually, I'm going to come back once I've got one of these rings on the up on one side of the door. Then I'll show you how we do the windows in the door. So I will be back. Decided I'd come back real quick and show the difference. This is the stained half. This is the unstained half. I think it looks really fantastic with the stain. So, like I said, just wanted to let you see what it looks like. And what I will probably do to stain the I guess you'd call them windowsills. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually glue each one on individually. Ooh, no, I can't do that. I was going to say I'm going to glue it on and then I'm going to stain it, but I can't do that because if I stain it while it's on, I'll stain the plastic. So I will stain these before I put them on. Like I said, just wanted to let you see what the process looks like. I'll be back. Okay, been a little while. Went and did some other things, but the door and the window frames are now done. So what it tells you to do is now glue one of the frames onto the back or on the door, then turn it around, make sure it is centered, and then put the plastic windows actually into it. There's three pieces to the window. There's the two outside pieces and the stained glass. You can see on here, you can see that there's plastic that I've started to peel back. The stained glass does not have any plastic on it. If you do this, make sure you realize there's no plastic on this side. You can see how shiny that is. This side does have plastic on it, but if you peel it off, it is your stained glass color. So let's go ahead and grab this. And you can see unstained side, stained side. I'm just looking, how do I want to have this frame look? I think I want to have the grain running up and down with the rest of the grain. Looking for where my brush is. There it is. Shouldn't have anything on it. Got a little bit of glue in here. So we're going to spread the glue around. And the reason, one of the bigger reasons you do this, do the gluing after you've stained it, or after you've stained it, is so that the glue does not block the stain. If you're painting it, not a big deal. The paint will not, the paint won't be blocked by the stain. So set this on here. What I'm looking for is I want to make sure that I cover the hole, the tab holes completely. And I should have pretty much even coverage top to bottom. Something like that. That's pretty close. May not be exactly 100%, but it's very close. Okay. So now, not getting fingerprints on the plastic is my goal here. I'm going to peel this side. I'm going to hold it by the edges. And I'm going to peel this side. And then I'm going to carefully drop it into the hole, making sure that the tabs go in, if they will. Wow. Okay, it is actually a pretty tight fit. Get rid of this plastic. Being very careful not to scratch the window. It is a really, really tight fit. So let me put the back side on here. There we go. Okay. Very clear. Then red part on the top right and bottom left, which you can't really avoid. I do see, I don't know if that's going to show up on the camera, there's 2 scratches on the window. Not from me. I'm putting the clear part, the uncoated part up so that it won't get scratched anymore. And I've popped the window out, the window frame out on this side. Hang on. It's not that I popped it out. Really thin wood, it has curved. Push that down in there. Let this, I need to let it dry because the paint has actually curled the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take care of the, while I'm off, while the camera's paused, I'm going to put the last window in, I'm going to glue this part in, and then we'll come back. Change of plans. Hindsight being 2020, when I got this last piece of the window in place, turned it over, and the other side had popped loose. So like I said, hindsight being 2020, both sides are off. If I was going to do this again, I would do the window completely in there on both sides, and then put the glue on here, because yeah, you can see right there it has curved because the moisture in the glue. So if I paint both sides of this with the glue, what will happen is that the glue will set it in place when it's clamped. So I can clamp it and then put it on, or clamp it after I put it on to get it to stay in place. So there's that one. Do the same thing on this one. I think I just put my palm onto the glue and actually took most of it off. I didn't. Felt like it. I stuck my hand in the glue, but apparently I did not. This one's starting to curve. So I'm going to set it on here, kind of matching the direction of the grain. Get that excess glue here off. Do the same thing on this side. So now I can clamp. I'm actually, because this is such a small part, I'm going to clamp all the way around it so that it does not have a chance to warp at all. So for right now, that's all there is to do on this. Next thing we have to do is, they call it a surround. I think they said second round. Yeah, now it says now assemble the door surround or door frame. Still got to put the doorknobs on there. We'll put those on with super glue here in a few minutes. So let's turn the page. So we have the exterior surround, and it says this is not needed. I'm not going to cut that off until it's ready. Let's see, actually it cuts, craft knife, use craft knife to cut door strips, smooth the edges of all the parts with sandpaper. Okay. I'm looking, there it is. I do not know what is going on with my throat here lately, but I'm very close to losing my voice all the time. So we cut that off. I'm going to sand it this direction so we're not putting undue strain on the wood. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Take these, very carefully cut that tab because these are so thin. There's a thin thread of wood that did not cut. And again, sand along the length. Do not sand across because it's very easy to break this. Okay, just looking. Your surround along the dotted line. Do that on here as well. It doesn't say specifically to, but let me go ahead and get that done as well, because you can see that it's not needed. Just double check. Oh, we will not do that to this piece because this is a leftover part at the end of this stage. So now we're going to take these pieces, and there are beveled edges. So there is you got to pay attention because there are beveled edges. Just looking. How do I know which is the top and which is the bottom? No, that way. There we go. Has to go like that. White surface to the left. Interesting. Convex surface forward, hold to the right. Long notch at the top. Okay. Long notch has to fit like this. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. We need this surround at the base. So a little bit, step at a time. So this is going to go in here like this. What we're going to do is put glue on all the edges like that. Hold it in place, hold it square. Matter of fact, I'm just going to hold it like that while I get this piece ready to go. Ah, I see. It says convex surface forward. I believe I have these backwards. Yeah. Let me redo this. Picture doesn't really do it justice, showing which side is supposed to be forward. Get that excess there out of there. Okay, and I just realized what I did wrong. It was right before, but this piece was turned upside down. I'll get it in a minute. Okay. Convex forward, long notch at the top, white surface to the left. That should be good. Get this excess glue out of there. Okay. Now let me do this side. Do the same thing. After messing with this for several minutes, probably longer than I should have if I'd have really looked at it. Or if the pieces has been keyed a little bit to where you could only put them in one way. So that's going to go like that. Okay, use wood glue to attach this round base to the vertical strips. Convex edge forward. And the hole on the right side. So put some glue in here. Best to do this right the first time because wood glue can be a royal pain to get to release. You can get it to release, but you don't want to have to fight with it because you also don't want your pieces to be get broken in the process. Square this back up. Like that. Door arch B, this is this piece. So now they want you to put this piece in there. We're going to put some wood glue on the edges. Need to make sure you do not block the holes for the door pins. Either side can go out because it's white on both sides. We're going to slide it in here to line it up with the door frame. That's interesting. See if I can just center it because it does not quite line up. Come on. There is actually a gap on both sides. Very small, but there is a gap. It's lined up there, almost not lined up there right now. Okay, that should be good. Door strips C on both sides. They fit underneath the door arch. Okay, I see what they're talking about. These strips are going to go here underneath that arch. need a little bit of adjustment. Work on one at a time, get them in place, and then show you what I'm talking about. The glue is starting to dry out a little bit. So let me get this one in place first. Come on, there we go. Actually kind of squares it up pretty well. So right there, you can see, come on, that strip underneath here. The strip on the other side is going to square it up pretty well. Then I'll be able to line everything else up. What I'm going to do is go ahead and pause the camera and come back after that's done. Okay, that's in place like that. You see it on either side. So the next piece that goes in is going to be this archway here. It goes in on this side, and there's a cutout for the door hinge pin in it. Needs to go on the left side. Rather than possibly gumming up that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the glue on here. On the face here, on the sides, hopefully leaving that that hole for the pin open. Slide that in there. I can see through. Get that glue off of there, and this is actually flush in the back. Right here on the arch. So that is how that goes in there. And we're going to take, just looking, we're going to take this piece here, touch the exterior surround, press down firmly. So this is going to go on this side. It's going to line up on here like that. And it is going to need to be clamped because we're going to curve. It's going to curve. It says to use quick drying glue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use wood glue, set it aside, and let it dry. So let me start working on this. And it does say to make sure these lines are to the outside. So let me get the glue on the legs. And the reason I'm doing this instead of super glue is I think the super glue might have a tendency to crack. I much prefer using the wood glue here. Trying to hold this is such a fragile little piece. Trying to hold this, get the glue on it, and not get glue on me can be a little bit tricky. So I've got glue all the way around. So now the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to line up the hole on the bottom. Maybe. I don't know if it's exactly, it looks like it should be the exact width. Not that. So we're going to grab a clamp here. We're going to clamp this leg. We're going to take this leg, line it up on the bottom, as well as left to right. clamp it. And then I'm going to go up the leg, put another clamp on each leg, each side of the leg, and then one on the top to line everything together. It's a little bit off on this side. Just kind of straightening things out as I go. The key part of this is going to be curving the top here and getting it lined up correctly. Just looking at it, that should be good. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to let it dry and I'll be back. Okay. The door frame, window frame has set up. Looks really good. I just did a cleanup on this side so you can see that the window is clear. There's a little bit, but I'm not going to sweat that. This is actually attached really nicely. So last thing we have to do before assembling the door is to attach the cornice to the upper part. And it's just going to go on, I'm looking that side. It's going to go on here just like this, just like the other part did. I'm just looking. Okay, I was looking at the pictures and I'm like, wait, is it backwards? No, it's not. Doesn't really matter if it's backwards because then it just opens the opposite direction from the opposite side. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on here. I need to get some more water because my reservoir has ran out. I'm still using my paintbrush cleaning reservoir. It does really well to take the glue off the brush. Need to clean it a little bit more, but what I'm going to do first is go ahead and attach this. Got to get it on one side, get it lined up on one side, then clamp it. It again asks for super glue. And I again am going to use just wood glue because the wood glue works just fine for this. It sets up and then it'll hold it in place just fine. Just looking, make sure that it's lined up. Put the clamp on here. Take the Q-tip, clean that excess off the top there. Make sure it's lined up good, well on both sides. Pause the camera and come back when we finish putting the door together. Also, while I'm paused, it says to paint white up these two areas, this one here and this one here. And that's just so that it does not look, everything looks so nice and white. These are going to be covered from the inside. No need to do anything with that. But this would look a little bit odd once the door's in there. You know, it being brown in there when the rest of it is all white. So I will be right back. Okay, when I unclamped that, it came loose because the wood glue did not grab to the paint on either side. So I did do super glue in here. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and move on. I did not paint that. I changed my mind. I'm allowed to do that. We're going to get these pins out of here. Come on. We're going to get the pins into here and we're going to put the pins in place. And I'm not going to glue them with super glue. I'm going to, or putting it, they say to put a dab of glue on it before you put it in. Instead, what I'm going to do is once I have it in place, I'm going to put a dab of glue on the bottom of it, or the bottom and the top. The long one I don't think will ever come out because of how long it is. But so we have the hole there, the top and the bottom of the door frame. We've got the hole in the bottom of the door and in the top of the door. So I'm going to just set the door in place, and the door only swings one direction. It will not move through the front there. So I'm going to take the pin, I'm going to line it up. I'm going to put it in the hole here, try and line up the door while I'm doing it. That looks like that hole is actually a little bit small for it, which is actually a good thing. Is that on there? Feels like it might be. Let's go ahead and push this down in. That is firm enough in there, I may not have to glue it at all. Then we'll take the top pin, and we'll put it in here. This could be the tricky one, lining up that hole. I see what they were talking about. They do mention that it could be difficult to open the door once the pin is in because of the corner of that piece. So let's see. So very close. It does say to, if the door won't open, which it's not going to be able to once this pin is in, that you can trim a little bit of this off here. I'm going to go ahead and do that and see if that'll help me get the pin in there. It says not to be careful not to damage the door. Well, I'm going to be smart about it. Because yeah, they cut a pretty good chunk out of there. I'm going to be smart about it. And I'm not going to have the door in place while I'm doing this. Do my best not to do what I just did, which is damage the frame. Let's see. Might be better to put the top pin in first. Get this bottom pin back in here. It's coming back out, so I'll just set that there. And I'll see if I can get this top pin to go in, because it has quite a ways to go. That's as far as it goes in into that slot. That's not going to work. It does actually say to put the bottom pin in or the top pin in first. So there's the pin sticking out there. Sorry. There's the pin sticking out there. It's so close. It is just really close to that hole. There we go. There we go. Push that all the way home. Take the bottom pin, put in that hole, work with it a little bit. Top pin moved up a little bit. Let me see. It catches a little bit but it also holds in place shut. I think that will work just fine. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue. I prefer to do it this way instead of trying to glue it into the door and maybe have something go wrong. I prefer to put the glue over top of the pin on the outside. The last thing there is to do is to, and well out of order at this point, these should have been done a long time ago, several steps ago, but I figured I would save them for the last. Let me find my pin vise. There we go. Take the pin vise, put a little bit of glue into one of these little reservoirs. That should be plenty. And instead of going for precise measurements, make sure which side is okay. It says about 1 millimeter in from the door edge. I'm going to go with right about there. I'm going to put it in place. Wherever it touches is where it's going to be. Right about there. Straighten it out. So let it sit. And all I've got left to do after this, I'm going to go ahead and do that off screen. The only thing that's left to do after this is put the other door handle on, and this part will be used in a later stage. So I'm going to call this a video. I mean, we're at 52 minutes, which is what the Moomin videos tend to be, about an hour long, because there is so much to do in almost every one of them. But I think it's coming together really nicely. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you're enjoying this build. If you do, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified of any time I post new content. Leave a comment. I will answer. I love comments. Love to respond to them. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a great day. Have a great day tomorrow, and I will see you in the next video or stream. Modelmania, hard work models, plastic modeling, wooden models. Buckman's Modelmania, hard work models, plastic modeling, wooden